#why we stand longer in front of some paintings. Have you ever walked into a gallery and suddenly stopped in front of one painting? You don't know exactly why. There may be hundreds of paintings around you. Some are larger. Some are more famous. Some are technically more impressive. And yet, one particular painting makes you stop. You look at it for a few seconds, then a few more. And before you realize it, you've been standing there for several minutes. What happened? Why did that painting get your attention? The answer may have less to do with the painting itself than you might think. When we enter a gallery, we don't look at everything equally. We scan. We move. We glance at colors, faces, shapes, light, and movement. Our eyes are constantly deciding what deserves more attention. And sometimes a painting wins that competition. It might be because of color, a dramatic red, a deep blue, a bright area surrounded by darkness. Our eyes are naturally drawn to contrast. But color is only part of the story. Sometimes it is the human face. If a painting contains a face, our attention often goes there almost immediately. We look at the eyes. We try to understand the expression. Is the person sad, angry, calm, afraid, thinking? Or perhaps the expression is impossible to read. And that uncertainty can keep us looking. We want an answer, but the painting doesn't give us one. So we keep searching. This is one of the great powers of art. A painting can create a question without giving us the answer. And the longer we look, the more we begin to invent our own story. Maybe that woman is waiting for someone. Maybe that man has just received terrible news. Maybe the figure is remembering something. Maybe nothing is happening at all. The artist has created a moment, and our mind completes it. But there is another reason we stop in front of certain paintings. Sometimes the painting reminds us of ourselves. Not necessarily literally. It might remind us of a place we once lived, a person we once loved, a moment from childhood, a particular season, a feeling we haven't experienced in years. We may not even consciously recognize the connection. We simply feel something. And when a painting produces a personal response, we often stay longer. This is why two people can stand in front of exactly the same painting and have completely different experiences. One person sees a beautiful landscape. Another sees loneliness. One person sees an old woman. Another sees their mother. One person sees a simple room. Another sees the place where they grew up. The painting hasn't changed. The viewer has. And that is something galleries sometimes forget. Art doesn't exist only on the wall. It also exists in the mind of the person looking at it. There is another interesting phenomenon. Sometimes we stop because a painting makes us uncomfortable. We might not like it. We might even dislike it. But we cannot easily walk away. Why? Because our brain wants to understand what it is seeing. A disturbing image can hold our attention just as strongly as a beautiful one. Perhaps the artist has created something strange. Perhaps the proportions are unusual. Perhaps the subject is difficult. Perhaps the painting challenges something we believe. And suddenly we are no longer simply looking. We are trying to solve it. This is why some of the most memorable artworks aren't necessarily the prettiest. They stay in our minds because they create tension. They leave something unresolved. They make us ask questions. And sometimes we stand longer in front of a painting because everyone else is standing there. This is something we rarely admit. Look at a gallery crowded around one artwork. You may find yourself walking toward it. You assume there must be something important there. Maybe it is a masterpiece. Maybe it is famous. Maybe everyone knows something you don't know. So you look too. And suddenly, other people's attention has become part of your experience of the artwork. This tells us something important about how we experience art. We are influenced by context, the size of the painting, the position on the wall, the lighting, the frame, the title, the artist's reputation, the museum label, even the behavior of other visitors. Imagine seeing a painting in a crowded museum with a large crowd standing around it. Now imagine seeing the same painting alone in a quiet room. Would you experience it differently? Probably. The gallery environment tells us, in subtle ways, what deserves our attention. But there is something else that determines how long we look. Time. When we are rushing through a museum, we don't really see very much. We see objects. We recognize paintings. We read a few labels. We take photographs. And we move on. But when we slow down, something changes. Details begin to appear. Brushstrokes become visible. Small expressions become meaningful. The relationship between colors becomes clearer. And sometimes the painting that seemed ordinary at first begins to reveal itself. This is why looking at art is different from simply seeing art. Seeing takes seconds. Looking takes time. And really seeing may take even longer. So the next time you visit a gallery, try something different. Don't ask yourself which painting is the most famous. Don't ask which painting is the most expensive. Don't even ask which painting you are supposed to like. Instead, notice which painting makes you stop. Then stay there. Give it another minute. Look at the details. Look at the edges. Look at the background. Look at the faces. Look at what the artist chose not to show you. And then ask yourself one simple question. Why am I still standing here? The answer might tell you something about the artist. But it might also tell you something about yourself. Because sometimes, the painting we cannot walk away from is the painting that has found something inside us that we didn't know was there. This is the gallery experience.